Hey guys, what's up? This is TechWolf. We are going to have a review of the Galaxy Stellar and the iPhone 4 here. Both great devices. Today we are going to have 10 talking points that we're going to compare them against each other. So let's get started. Alright, the first talking point is going to be the design. Then we'll have screen, performance, apps, storage, battery life, internet speeds, ease of use, camera, and overall value. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the Galaxy Stellar. Alright, on the Galaxy Stellar we have a 4-inch diagonal screen, 4 capacitive touch buttons down here on the bottom. So you can see, screen's just looks great. Screen resolution is going to be about 800 by 480 pixels. Now, this phone is 4G, as you can see, back here. 4G. It's got great design. Oh, there we go. Great design here. On the right side, you'll have your sleep button. Top, your headphone jack. See if you can see that there. Okay. On the left side, you're going to have your volume rocker. Bottom, you'll have your standard micro USB charging cable. On the left side, you'll have a micro USB port. Now, you can also take the back off the Galaxy Stellar and replace the battery. And another feature is the camera here. This is 3 megapixel camera with no LED flash, which is kind of a bummer for such a great phone, but okay. And then over here we have the iPhone 4. On the iPhone 4, on the top we have the sleep button, headphone jack, volume rocker. Bottom we have the standard 30-pin connector, and the speakers. Speaking of which, the speakers right here are on the back bottom of the Galaxy Stellar. Now, you have your 5 megapixel camera here with your LED flash. Right side we have nothing. Top, your speaker, for phone calls. Bottom here is your home button, which is standard for all Apple devices, as you probably know. Now, get started. The designs, as you can see, the iPhone has glass back. Stellar, plastic feel, but still feels pretty sturdy. And then I have to say that I like the iPhone 4 design a little bit better. It just feels a little bit sturdier. And the Galaxy Stellar actually weighs less, which I don't know if it's the design, but it actually feels a little bit heavier to me. So that must be the design on there. Now, let's move on to the next point. Here we have a 4-inch screen with a resolution of 800 by 480 pixels. And the screen looks great. It's a Super AMOLED display, I believe. Tongue-tied there. And it just looks really great. I really love this screen. I really like the bigger size on it. And, okay, let's move to the iPhone 4 now. The iPhone 4 screen is 3.5 inches across. And let me check here, but I do believe, let me make sure I'm getting this right here, 960 by 640 pixels. Now, screen looks really great, and it also, the fact that it has a higher resolution than the Galaxy Stellar, and being a smaller screen just makes the screen look amazing. But if you put them side by side, you know, it's really hard to declare winner on this one, but I think I'm going to have to go with the Stellar for the screen, because though it may not be a higher resolution, the larger screen just, I think, makes it look a lot better. Okay? Alright, now we're going to talk about performance. On the iPhone 4 here, we have about half a gig of RAM on here, and this makes it very snappy. and the fact that it is an iOS device means that there's really no widgets on here, no live wallpaper, so there's really nothing slowing you down. So it makes it very snappy. Here, as you can see, loading apps is very quick. Just overall really good. Now, over here on the Galaxy Stellar, we have about 1,000 megabytes of RAM, which totals to about a gig of RAM. So this is going to be very quick. And even though you have all these widgets on here, as you can see, music widget, the weather, it still runs very quickly, and I haven't noticed any slowdown at all. But overall, for performance, I'm going to have to give this round to the Stellar because you can do so much more with screens such as live wallpapers and widgets and still get the same amount of speed as you're getting on the iPhone 4. So you get more and you don't lose any quality in the process. So you have quantity and quality basically with the Stellar. So this round goes to the Stellar. Okay, here in the next round we are going to have apps. Now, everyone knows about Apple's App Store. It is very, very large. You have about, I believe it's over, I think they've almost reached 1 million apps on the App Store now. It's just quite a lot. And on the Android App Store, Google Play, as it's called now, you don't have near as many apps, but to be honest, I haven't found an app on iOS that I haven't been able to find on Android. Why it may not be the exact same app, you usually have a pretty good equivalent for it. But I do believe the Android App Store holds about 700,000 apps. And one thing you'll notice about apps in Android App Store is that they are much, much cheaper, while most of them are ad supported. However, iOS does contain a very large amount of apps, and you really get more apps on here, like first-person shooter games, and then a lot of cool photography apps that I haven't been able to find on Android. Actually, those are some of the few things that they don't have an equivalent for Android on. So this round's going to have to go to the iPhone 4. Alright, now we're going to talk about storage. Now, the iPhone 4 I have here has got about 16 gigabytes of space here. It comes with 16 gigabytes preloaded. Now you're obviously going to have less because the operating system takes about 2 gigs. And why that may not sound like a lot, 16 gigs, it is much, much bigger than what you have on the Stellar, where it comes preloaded with about 4 gigs of total space, and you run out of that quickly, considering that once you have the processor on there and everything, it takes about 2 gigs of it, so you don't have near as much space. However, you do have the micro SD card slot on the side here. You probably can't see that there, but you do have one. You can put in up to, I believe it's a 32 gig micro SD card. But, bad thing about that is, if you use a lot of apps, you cannot put apps on the micro SD card. Unless, I know there's some workarounds if you root the phone, but out of the box, you cannot do that. People have recommended AppsTSD and LeastSD, but I've found neither of those apps work for transferring those unless you're rooted. So, the storage is definitely going to have to go to... It's really storage, Stellar, probably because you can put the micro SD card in there. So that just makes it have a lot more space on there, especially if you're big into pictures and videos. Whereas on the iPhone, if you want to get it free from Verizon on the iPhone, you'll only have 8 gigs on there anyway. So it's going to be, you'll have twice as much internal storage on the iPhone 4, but you won't be able to expand that storage. And that micro SD card slot on the Stellar is invaluable for that. So this round goes to the Stellar. Alright, next we're going to talk about battery life on both these devices. Now, the iPhone in here comes with a 1400 milliamp battery in the back, and it was good 2 years ago, but now most new phones coming out here, you're getting, like the Stellar here, you're getting a 2100 milliamp battery, and it blows the iPhone battery away when it comes to battery life. But now your battery usage, you have to realize, is going to depend on what kind of things you have running on an Android software like the Stellar, like live wallpapers, that you won't be able to run on an iPhone 4 because those live wallpapers will run your battery down. So overall, it depends on what you're going to be doing, but the Stellar battery is better in this case. So this round's going to go to the Stellar. Alright, next up we have internet speeds. Now, you can pretty much tell which phone is going to win in this category because the Stellar gets 4G while the iPhone is still stuck on 3G on Verizon network. By the way, these are both Verizon phones, CDMA technology. So you have 4G on the Stellar, and you have 3G on the iPhone 4. Now, on the iPhone 4, where I live, I was getting about 2 megabits per second on their Verizon 3G. Now, that's not a lot, and it really has nothing to do with the location. I live next to a cell tower, so the internet should be really good. However, on the Stellar here, internet is a whole different story. OpenSpeedTest.net here, and check my internet speed. You can see I'm getting upwards towards about 33, almost 34 megabits per second download speeds, and about 18 megabits upload speeds. Now that is blazing fast, and you're going to notice web pages on 4G will load very quickly. But the bad thing about 4G is it will run your monthly data down very easily. So it just depends. If you don't use the internet a lot, then 3G is going to be fine for you. But if you do use your internet and you like it to be snappy, then you're definitely one to go with the Stellar. But here we're on the same. I actually have them both connected to the 4G network here. Foxfee Internet. You can download to your Android device, and it will run your internet off there. So just to give them a fair comparison, we are going to go to a pretty flash intensive site. Going to go to cnet.com. Get it both typed in here. Alright. Now, we have them both loading. Okay. Now, for some reason, it took me on the Stellar to a Google search. So, we're gonna... Alright, now it's working here. Now, you can see, well, they're both around the same network, so you can see the iPhone 4 was a little bit faster. But the iPhone 4, the iPhone 4s do not support Flash, where on Android you are going to have to load that Flash up, so therefore the iPhone 4 is going to be a little bit faster. Now, the internet speeds, I'm going to go with the Stellar on this round, because while you may have to load up all that Flash, I don't really consider that a bad thing. So, you see, browsers on these phones are both very snappy. But for internet speeds, I'm really going to have to go with the Stellar, just because you do have those 4G speeds. And really, 4G, it's great, and I probably can do without it now. So this round goes to the Stellar. We're going to talk about something that is very important to a lot of people that are coming into the smartphone world for the first time, and that is going to be ease of use. How easy are these phones to use? Do they take a while to figure out? Are you going to have to break out the manual for these phones? Or are you going to be able to open the box up, turn these phones on, and just go straight into it? Now, if you're a new user, that's probably not the case. However, if you're used to smartphones, you can just really open up the phones here, and really the interface is very easy to use. But for those new users, it can be a little bit complicated, especially over here on Android, because Android is an open source system, so you can download apps from things that aren't the App Store. Sometimes you'll get viruses. I have never gotten one, but I also use a antivirus program for Android. Whereas on iOS, you're not going to have any of those issues. You can only download from the App Store. And while that may seem like a restriction to a lot of people, in ways it can be good, because you're not going to have to worry about getting those apps that are going to crash your phone and things like that. But if you do get an Android phone, you don't have to download from other app stores. You can just download from the Play Store and you will be good. You shouldn't have any trouble with any viruses or anything like that. I never have. So, on the ease of use side, though, however, the iOS systems are very easy to use. You don't have to worry about your app tray like you do here. All your apps are on the home screen where you can see them. And it's a plain layout, but it's really great and really easy to use. Then you have here something that wish they had done a little bit better in iOS, was quick settings here, where you, like here on Android, you have your settings up here. Yep. There we go. You have your settings up here, where you can turn off mobile data, screen rotation, where on iOS you do not have that. And that is going to be crucial for a lot of people that are messing with those settings all the time. You don't want to have to dig into the settings every time you want to do that. So, but however, the iPhone, you really just can't beat how easy it is to use. It is incredibly easy. You will really have no problem with this phone. So this round goes to the iPhone 4 for ease of use. Alright, now we're going to talk about camera. Now here on the iPhone 4, we have a 5 megapixel camera with an LED flash. Now, here on the Stellar, we have no flash and a 3 megapixel camera, which is really a disappointment to find, with such a great phone running Ice Cream Sandwich on here. You would expect that for them to put all that effort into this phone, they would have done a better camera too. But really, that's why the price point on the Stellar is so low, is because of the camera not being really what it should be and on par with the other phones that are coming out nowadays. So here are some pictures I took on the iPhone 4. You can see the pictures are really crisp, really great. You really would think that the camera actually is a bit nicer than 5 megapixels, but that's what it is, and the pictures look great. Now on the Galaxy Stellar, you are really going to have problems with low light situations. Outside, the pictures actually look really great, but however, in low light situations, you're not going to get very good pictures. So this round's going to go to the iPhone. Last round. Now we're going to talk about overall value. Now the iPhone on Verizon, and I believe AT&T as well, but we have the Verizon version here, so we're going to talk about this one. You can get it for free with a 2-year contract. Now the Stellar, I believe it's running around $50 with the 2-year contract, but however, they are running deals where you have a mail-in rebate that you can get it for less than that. I believe you can probably get it with the rebates for the same price as the iPhone, of no cost to you at all. It's really, no cost to you. Both these phones are great. I mean, really, who doesn't want a phone that's no cost? So, but however, you do have that 2-year contract to think about, and you want a phone that's going to be able to last you for those 2 years without having to worry about the phone breaking, just not being able to hold up to everyday use. So, you want the best phone for your value. So, this was a tough decision to make on which phone really held the best value here. And I've come to the conclusion that if I would have to be stuck into your contract, which phone would I want? Now, as I said, it was a tough decision, but I think this round is going to go to the Stellar just because you have ice cream sandwich on here. It's a very new phone. You have 4G. It's very snappy. You are going to have updates for this phone for quite a while. They'll probably keep updating it for the next year and a half to 2 years. On the iPhone 4, while Apple's very good about updating their devices, it is only one version away from being no longer compatible with the new iOS's. The 3GS, I believe, is the last, the oldest iPhone that's still actually being updated, and then right after 3GS is the iPhone 4. So, in 2 years, they're probably not going to be updating it anymore. So, if I would have to be stuck into your contract, I would have to go with the Stellar just because it has 4G and it's newer. And I don't think it's going to disappoint you having this phone for 2 years. But it's all up to you whether you like iOS or Android. I personally love both operating systems. So it's really just a choice to you, but you can't go wrong with either phone. Thanks. Whether you chose the iPhone 4 or the Galaxy Stellar, you're most likely going to be looking for a case to protect your investment. These two cases are the ones that I have found perform the best from day-to-day use. If you'd like to, you can check them out in the links in the description. Thanks.